This is even better than we thought. With the Rangers' first preseason game of the year in the books, we got a better look at some of the Rangers' prospects, as well as some prospects that we know are fighting for spots on the team. There were a couple of question marks coming into this game, and we may have found some answers at last. Welcome back to Rangers Digest. I am Darius Domingues. We're going to break all of that down in this episode, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And there's a lot to get to in this episode of Rangers Digest because the first preseason game, like I mentioned, is finally in the books. It was well underway, and we are well underway, I should say, into the preseason and the regular season coming up in just a couple weeks, which is really fun. And we got a better look at some Rangers prospects and some that really caught my eye, as well as Filip, right? And we can start there for the most part. Filip was a big question mark coming into not only this season, right, but this training camp. What will he look like coming off of an injury-riddled season last year? And we may have gotten our answer earlier in the training camp, or the preseason, I should say. Filip is a full go. According to Chris Drury, he's healthy with no restrictions entering training camp. And last night, he looked pretty good. Filip says he's healthy again, in a much better position to help the New York Rangers, as opposed to when he returned in last year's playoffs. Did not look like himself. He's in a much better position this season, which was great to see. And obviously, you know, the Rangers went on without Chytil last year, and they still had a great season, winning the President's Trophy, of course, but the lack of production from the bottom six was a big question mark heading into this season. They needed help there. So, you know, Chytil returning to the lineup healthy this year and putting in good performances is crucial to the Rangers' success this season. And he looks good because obviously just 2 seasons ago, he had 22 goals, 45 points. He's looking to build off of that. You know, very unfortunate last season with some injury troubles. And we have a quote from Filip himself, as well as his coach. And he says, "I'm back. I'm 100% ready to work, be 100% myself, and I'm not scared of any contact because I got a couple of hits in the playoffs and I was okay." So obviously that time spent in the playoffs gives him a little bit more confidence coming to this season. And then from his coach, Peter Laviolette, he's come back in very good shape. He looks excellent on the ice. There are no limitations with him whatsoever. I actually think maybe the opposite. Maybe a little bit more is good right now to try and get him back and find his game and the game shape part of it and the feel that goes with the game. And I mean, it is true. You kind of got to, you know, put him in the deep end, so to speak, right away, because, you know, you got to get him back into game action. If he's feeling good, you know, get him back into game action right away. And I mean, he got into game action right away last night against the Boston Bruins and had a pretty nice goal. Got kicked back to him on the half wall and shot it short side right over the shoulder. Nice little celebration for Chytil as well. Nice to see him back in the lineup with the New York Rangers. Very encouraging signs for this season for Filip Chytil. And one other guy I wanted to mention in last night's game, because we haven't talked about him on the channel at all, is Victor Mancini. And I thought he had a great game last night. He was, you know, really good and strong defensively. He's a right shot defenseman that was drafted in the 5th round just 2 seasons ago. Spent majority of his time last season in college and played a couple games with the Hartford Wolfpack, but looked great last night. Scored a goal, nice shot, and obviously was keeping plays alive all night, getting shots towards the net. This play specifically ended up with Cooley here passing it to Chytil, and Chytil scoring that goal last night to get him back on the score sheet after last season. So great plays from Victor Mancini. That is encouraging. Probably won't make the team this year, but he's looking to turn pro, so we'll probably see him with the Hartford Wolfpack. Very encouraging signs for the young defenseman. Not so young anymore. He is 22 at this point, but looks like he's developing very nicely. There were some very encouraging signs last night, as you could see with the video. So some good news. I just wanted to touch on that. That is some good stuff for the New York Rangers. Now, one last guy I wanted to point out last night is Brennan Othmann and his play. He was very physical last night, getting into a fight as well. And the experts say from David here that you need some bleep you to win a cup. Othmann has that, just saying. And I think a lot of people's heads are turning on Brennan Othmann specifically, that they know now he can bring that physicality and he can be maybe potentially a difference maker for the New York Rangers this season. I do believe in him. Obviously had a couple big hits last night. One of them was, without the puck. It was interference, all right, but he's just trying to make an impact and he's playing really hard out there. So that's very encouraging. He wants to make a team. And if you're the New York Rangers and a New York Rangers fan, those are good signs. I love it when guys, you're not given anything. You have to earn the spot, and he was out there playing physical and trying to earn his spot. So I really loved that from Brennan Othmann specifically last night. Again, borderline interference on one of the hits, but playing very well last night was Brennan Othmann. Of course, as you can see from this screenshot, specifically laying the boom and then got into a fight with Witherspoon from the Boston Bruins as well. And honestly, that really all stemmed from this specific hit from Brennan Othmann, which there was no puck around. Now, I don't like to see this from players, right? Like, I wouldn't encourage Brennan Othmann to do this, right? Obviously, borderline interference, whatever you want to call it. But the way I see it too, he was just trying to assert himself physically all night long. He's fighting for his spot. He's trying to do everything he can to be noticed. So I think that's more of what this was than anything else. And obviously, like I mentioned, the fight kind of stemmed from that. And Brennan Othmann, not known to really fight. Obviously, he's trying to bring the boom here in the preseason so far and play physically. And like I said, earn a spot and earn his keep on the team. But of course, Witherspoon, more known for fighting, so had his way with him a little bit there. But again, Brennan Othmann dropping the gloves, and honestly, he's standing up for himself, not afraid to drop the gloves. And he's not known for that, and I'm not saying he has to be a fighter, but with guys like Matt Rempe fighting for spots as well, he had to do something to get noticed, right? And that's just something that Brennan Othmann is going to have to do if he wants to make the NHL this year. So at least he's not coasting around. I think it's a good sign if you're a Rangers fan and Rangers management that a lot of these guys understand what's happening here. They're fighting for spots and nothing is going to be given. You have to earn it. So some good stuff from Brennan Othmann last night. Again, I would say that the hit was, borderline, like it was interference, like probably stay away from hits like that. But again, he was just trying to play as physical as possible. But we'll see how he plays in the next preseason game that he gets into. It's going to be very interesting if he continues to bring the boom. He is hungry to make the lineup, and if not, we will see him with Hartford this year, of course. But I think he can be a difference maker in the bottom six for the New York Rangers this year. He really wants it, and like I said, it's a good sign if you are New York Rangers management, because the physicality, they have to bring this. The Rangers have to bring this. We saw what happened in the third round against the Florida Panthers last season. So if that continues, that play style continues, maybe more of the same will continue in the playoffs, and that's not a good thing for the New York Rangers. They have to bring more physicality, even if it's only through the bottom six. Their top guys have to play more physical as well, 100%. But to see this in guys who are fighting for spots in the bottom six, presumably in the bottom six, anything can happen. Capo Caco's in the bottom six right now. He could end up in the top six at some point this year. I wouldn't touch the second line. I've been very vocal about that, but anything is possible. So he's trying to earn his keep within the lineup, and I think that's a very good thing if you're a Rangers fan and management. So let me know what you think about Filip return to the New York Rangers lineup. Obviously, he spent some time with them in the playoffs last year, but now he's fully healthy and ready to go. So good to see him return in that aspect. Let me know what you thought of Victor Mancini's play. I thought he was fantastic last night. Had to give him a shout out. And of course, Brennan Othmann, can he make the New York Rangers? I think he's pushing hard. There's some other guys. Matt Rempe, does he even make the team? There's a lot of guys fighting for very limited spots, so it's going to make for a very interesting training camp. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.